Welcome to the Overflow podcast at Radiate Students. This podcast was designed to equip students to live, know, and share the gospel. So if you are not plugged into a local church, I would love to personally invite you to Radiate. We meet Sunday mornings at 9:30 and 11 for life groups, as well as on Wednesday nights at 6:15 for middle school, 7:15 for high school for our midweek event. We'd love to have you out. With all that being said, let's jump into today's episode.
So they can line up video and audio.
That makes sense. The first time I thought you were just like bullying me. For,
No, dude. No. I do believe, but that wasn't one.
Like clap. All right, everybody. Welcome back to the second episode of the Overflow. Joined today by Seth and Kevin.
Woo!
What's up, guys?
We're here.
How are we feeling? We're 2 days into fall break. There's nothing going on. How's life?
Yeah, it's been relaxed. By the time you guys see this, fall break's over, so we're sorry.
Yeah.
That's true.
You may be watching this in March. It may be spring break, actually, by the time you see this. But no, it's been a relaxed weekend. Not too much to do.
Yeah.
Just getting stuff ready. We're looking forward to D now.
Yeah.
Well, already.
Crap, I forget
Getting rec
D-Now's
stuff
coming.
ready, dude.
Holy
Getting everything
crap.
ready. It's an exciting time.
Do we have
It's
any
an exciting time.
insider info on what rec's gonna look like this year?
Oh man, I've just been starting to look forward to it, but maybe we might just see a greased melon make an appearance. Maybe
Alright.
some oatmeal. You just never know what's gonna happen with D9 Rec. Honestly,
I hate to like rain on your parade, but me and Braden put on the best D9 rec I've ever seen last year. So
got high expectations
You have to
to live up
compete
to.
with that.
I know.
Kevin, you're going to hang out with students today, maybe?
Yeah, we're
With
going to
your
Lake Point
Lake
today.
Point?
Oh yeah.
Just
Laser
with
tag,
a dead car. And
some pizza. My car's dead, so shout out Aiden for driving us. But
Aiden Webb, a
That's
dog,
so funny. Yeah, I know.
legend.
Fall break, literally yesterday I didn't do anything, which is so weird because adult fall breaks suck because they don't exist.
Yeah. You think I get this break from school? It doesn't
Nope.
exist
And I'm like,
once
I
you're
have
out
to-
of school.
I have to go to class yesterday.
Or in college.
But, my mom and Everett my mom and little brother are at Disney World, and it's just, we're getting their updates. I'm like, this sucks. I'm so glad
You know what?
guys-
I went to class today, guys.
Yeah, I
Thank you
know.
very much.
Went to class and work, and you guys are like riding rides and eating churros, but that's so fun. Well, today we are talking about community
yeah.
and community as students, what that
Yeah.
looks like, and all of that. Really excited. This is a big deal, a big topic for our
100%.
students. We're going to get into it a lot. But before we get into it, I just want to ask you guys, looking at your life when you guys were students, middle school, high school, maybe
Oh,
even
man.
college. Kevin, you have a lot of info here, but what did community look like for you guys?
Yeah, I can start. Well, I didn't go to youth group till my senior year of high school.
Wow.
And as a senior in high school, in California, we had Jack in the Box.
Ooh.
I was open late.
Oh, those little tacos, man.
Is that what
Yeah.
Jack
Oh
in the
my.
Box is?
And
You've
we
never
had-
had Jack in the Box?
Never had Jack in
Oh,
the
Never
Box.
had
dude.
Jack. And we had
It's
Denny's.
just kind of everything.
Yeah.
I got you.
You've had Denny's.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Denny's?
Denny's is
You've
like,
never been to Denny's either?
Never been to Denny's.
It's like
I've also never been to
kind of
IHOP.
like Waffle House,
Okay.
IHOP. but-
IHOB, International House of
Yeah.
Burgers.
But for me, my youth group, as high school students, we're seniors. We all have senioritis, right? We want to stay out late, have fun, eat junk food. So that was our spot.
Amen.
And that group of people, it wasn't the mini tacos at Jack in the Box that really pulled us together. It was us just trying to follow Jesus together. And we're also different hobbies, different schools, but we all knew that we needed Christ. And so as we're, devouring all this unhealthy food, that was our meeting place. These places.
Was
But
in the Jack in the Box.
It's like your
Denny's?
cookout.
Yeah.
It's the same
Okay,
idea.
That's
it's
fair.
kind of cheap.
I love a cookout.
For me, it was beach camp, and I've told this story before. Just when we're talking about like doing room assignments for fall retreat or for
gosh.
beach camp or for anything like that. My community, my group of guys going through high school started because I got the room that I did not want. I was me and my buddy Cole at the time. It was just us that were in our group, and so we were like, well, we're not with the rest of our guys our grade. Like, why are we with these bunch of we were freshmen going into sophomore year. We were the sophomores going into junior year. They were probably like, why are we with the freshmen? But we were like, where's the rest of our friends? But over that week of beach camp, man, we just got super close with those guys really quick. And then we came back here and just continued to hang out. And we added some guys and some guys from the grade above them. So it really spanned 3 grades, which was cool because especially for being the youngest in that group, man, I was able to watch these guys that were 2 years ahead of me and it was awesome because I could ask them for advice, and so it was huge for me going through. I mean, it's huge for everybody. That's why we're talking about it today. But having those strong group of guys around me, whether I was struggling or whether, man, just to celebrate with me was absolutely. I mean, I wouldn't be here today without that community of guys.
Yeah, for me, I probably didn't have my community until going into sophomore year, because in middle school and in school I ran with I'd say a rough crowd. They weren't like criminals, but they didn't do great things and
Play a lot of Fortnite. Did that exist yet?
yeah, Fortnite existed then, but like by the time I was in high school, we were on like the back end of Fortnite.
They were
was
like
huge,
stealing silly bands
early
from
in
each
middle
other.
school. Yeah, no. So my freshman year was when the like devious lick thing was happening.
Oh my gosh!
And so it was
we don't need
just
to
like
bring that back.
it was just like stealing soap dispensers and wet floor signs and stuff like that.
You guys are terrible.
Yeah, I've never done that before in my life, actually. But it wasn't until, I guess, freshman year D now, sophomore year D now, where I met probably my three closest friends, Cam, Carson, and Jack. And we met freshman year D now, and then it was our freshman year beach camp where we were together all week, and we were like, dude, this is so fun. We're all friends. And then going into D now, they moved D now into the fall, and so we all stayed at Cam's house for the weekend because it was back when we didn't do host homes, and it was just we spent that weekend like growing close to each other and all that, and we kept that group of just accountability, of friendship going strong until today. Whenever everyone comes back from college, we all get together, hang out in Cam's basement where it all started, go to Waffle House, play ping pong,
go to sleep at a reasonable time,
totally 4 a.m. to 5 a.m. just stuff like that. But hey, the cookout mention is great. All right, cookout. If you've never been to cookout, wait till you get to college. It's incredible.
You can go now.
Well, you can go now, but it's not gonna when you don't have
not the same.
When you have $10 in your bank account and you can get an entire meal for less than those $10. It's great.
A corn dog as a side.
It's honestly.
Dude, have I told you about the quadilla? All right, you get two trays, quesadilla trays, and then your sides are 2 more quesadillas. Mm-hmm. It's the greatest thing ever. So we're talking about community today, because community is something that I've seen our students from when I was in the ministry, and Seth, when you were, I think you can imagine when you were in the ministry, but definitely something I see now on this side. Community is something that our kids really struggle with. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's something that you struggle with, and it's something that everybody searches for too. Like it's not like even, I mean, we see it all the time. Even the kids that don't really have a strong community, it's not like they're just like, I don't want one, right? You want one, and so it's struggling with it and really just a longing for it. But yeah, you're right.
Yeah. So we're gonna talk about aspects of community, and Kevin, I want you to talk about it from the middle school realm. Seth, you talk about it from the high school realm. But we'll start with you, Kevin. It's the same question for both of you, but what is the importance for a student to have that kind of biblical community?
Yeah, I think for middle school, I think one is I always think about the new person, and then 2, I always think about the 6th grader, because they are not that little kid anymore who has arts and crafts. I don't think they do that for middle school. But also there's no check-in sticker and all these different things. And there's a lot of freedom. We're right here in our beautiful Radiate Cafe, and there's foosball. I'm looking right at it, right? There's a pool table. There's games here. And they can get Skittles. Yeah. And Baja Blast
at 9 in the morning.
I don't know who approved that kind of decision making, but
yeah. But I think there's just a lot of change as middle schoolers going through a lot of change themselves, and so just trying to help them really see the bigger picture of like, hey, you're not a kid forever. Mm-hmm. You can I still act like a big kid, but there's a time where they're called to mature, right? Mm-hmm. There's a time where they're not going to have their hands held throughout their class and all that stuff, and so I think there's a little bit of fear there, but the importance of it is that as they look around and I say, hey, if you're feeling this way, if you're feeling awkward, or if you're feeling like this is difficult, you're not alone, right? Mm-hmm. There's I think the 6th grade boys class is 40 students.
It's absurd.
Right? And I say, hey, you guys feel like this? You're in good comfort, right? Because these other guys at this table, you guys are also feeling the same. And so we get to talk through that. And man, I'm so proud of our volunteer team. We have many adults who serve on our Sundays, Wednesdays, and these guys and girls, they're the real deal. They love these students, and they're trying to help them. And I tell them, like, hey, we've been in your shoes. We've been middle schoolers, believe it or not, but you can survive, right? It might be scary in 6th grade. And then I really want to challenge our 7th and 8th graders to say, hey, you remember what it was like being that brand new 6th grader? How would you want to be treated, being welcomed into this new place? And so I'm helping them see, like, hey, like, now that you're older and you're taller, right, you're still a middle schooler, and God can still use you to impact the next generation, even though they're a grade below you. So the importance of that is they would get connected. I think a lot of students, they go out on the first time, they're like, nobody talked to me. They ran out of my favorite flavor of Pop-Tarts, and so I didn't show up.
Yeah.
And I'm like, man, like, I'm sorry that happened. You know, that's a big deal, you know. But, man, don't let that be that one time to define the rest of your middle school experience. Because I think they will miss out on so many different friendships, memories, that they just let that one time kind of, you know, determine if they're going to continue. So community is important because I think it keeps the connection going.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes we, especially us as staff, but our kids who are here frequently, they kind of forget and get used to, like, how big and gigantic this church is. So they might not even notice that new person is just insanely overwhelmed by what's happening. Like, I've seen kids come through, and I've been talking to them, like, on a Sunday morning, and they're just like, this place is giant. And I'm like, well, not really. But I'm like, it's your first time. You've never been here. You're probably freaked out, you know?
Yeah. And I mean, you do walk in here, and that's, you talk about the freedom for middle school, and even more so in high school, but you do walk in here, and I mean, on a Sunday morning, we've got 350, however many students hanging out in the cafe. It is it's intimidating for a new person, whether adult or student. It's intimidating for a new adult to walk into. I mean, it's intimidating for all of us to walk into an area we're not familiar.
Right.
And so that's where we're trying to, like you said, just kind of train. I don't know if that's the right word, but like help the students here understand what it's like when you were the new one to walk in, and just being welcoming, because it is easy to get lost. The beautiful thing about having a group the size that we do, and we're super blessed, is that there is a spot for everybody. That you have people that, man, you guys like the same thing, you enjoy the same thing. You can find your group, but it's just not always the first people that you see when you walk in. And so sometimes it takes effort. But in high school, it's super important too, because, man, you're growing in that freedom. The beautiful thing about middle school is that there's still times where like my mom could look at me when I was in middle school and be like, yeah, I'm not taking you to go hang out with those people. Like, that's just not happening. But in high school, it's like once you hit sophomore year, into sophomore year, where you can drive, man, you've got that freedom. Now your parents can still tell you where not to go, but you have a lot more freedom. And so what we see is that it's so important for you to find the right community, because you're going to find a community, but it's finding the right community, whether you're fitting in with people who, man, they listen. They were the first people that listened to you, but they're not giving you godly advice. Just this Sunday, we talked about advice and listening to advice from people. And so many of ourselves, I fear that we surround ourselves with people who just say what we want to hear and not what we need to hear. And so I think when we're looking for community, it's important to surround ourselves with biblical community, people that are going to push you towards the Lord. That way, in those moments of freedom, whether it be middle school, high school, especially as you continue on into college, like you build the foundation now, it continues. That way, those are the people that can look at you and be like, hey, man, what are you doing? Right? Why are you living this way? Why are you doing this? And keep you on the right track in the first place.
Yeah. I think for me, the biggest thing was the familiarization that comes from good community. Like, I remember Caleb Eady was one of our D-Now leaders, and we're all sitting in this room, and we're trying to talk about our questions, but everyone's just kind of sitting there like, I don't have anything to share about this subject of what we're struggling with. I'm actually not struggling with anything.
I'm perfect.
And Caleb just he kind of looked at us, and I remember it because he said it our sophomore year, and it completely changed the trajectory of our entire great group of guys in Radiate. But he was like, you're sitting around a bunch of guys who are struggling with the exact same stuff you are. Yeah. So stop hiding. Yeah. And so we were all just like, oh, okay. So we were open about our struggles and what we were doing there, and that just started us into a entire high school season of being open with each other and growing together. But before we go any further, I don't want to miss this moment. We're talking so much about community, but I feel like we should define community first. So Kevin, for a middle school, what would you define as good community for a middle schooler?
Yeah, I would say in church, and, Seth, you kind of said this too, but I'd say it'd be a Bible centered, gospel focused group of people that care about their faith and care about each other. And they care about it so much that they're intentional about it. I know Seth and I have talked about how important it is to be intentional, because community doesn't happen by accident. Sometimes it can. It could be like, what?
Yeah.
Like, you like, Fortnite too. That happens a lot in middle school. But beyond that, it's cool, and they can be intentional to say, hey, we talked about asking for advice on Sunday. Like, how are you going to do that this week? Right? How are you going to get not just good advice, but godly advice? Right? I think that's the biggest distinction between the church and people who are non-church, is that we're here in a formal setting to talk about our faith freely. They're not necessarily going to talk about the Bible on lunch on a Thursday, right? Yeah. At a public school, right? I think that's the beautiful part of youth ministry, is we invite those conversations, and they happen, and sometimes it sparks a question that another kid was thinking. And let me tell you, if you've never sat in a middle school boys life group,
it's different.
You should, just one Sunday.
You should.
Or every Sunday. I mean, leaders, but
right.
Just see what it's like.
Yeah, but it is so funny. You can go from Adam and Eve, and then you can get to somebody being really stuck on wait, the serpent was talking, right? And you're like, what language did he speak, right? And then someone chimes in, what did the fruit taste like?
Then you get to the Nephilim, which it's a whole nother conversation.
Throw back to the 6th grade life group right there.
But I just love that, in a community that we have here at the church, and for our students, is we're not gonna push away those questions. We're gonna invite them. Yeah. We're gonna talk through. They might be out of nowhere, but we're gonna try our best to say, that's a great question, Johnny. Let's look at what the Bible says, right? It's not my opinion. It's not our philosophy. It's just, what does God have to say in His Word, and that's our goal. And so,
I love what you said. It doesn't just push us towards good advice; it pushes towards God advice, and I think that's so important. And honestly, when I think of community, I don't know the root of the word community at all, but when I think about it, I break it down into calm and then unity. And so when you're thinking about communication, comms, that's the purpose of community is to be talking with one another, because you can't hold each other accountable. You can't celebrate with one another. You can't build those relationships at all if you don't communicate, if you're not talking. But the purpose of it is we're unified. We're unified, pushing towards one goal, pushing ultimately towards growing in Christ. And so that's the heart of it all. I love that, though. It's not just good advice, it's God advice.
Yeah. I loved how you broke it down right there.
I don't know if that's how that works.
We got the ELA lesson today.
Oh, yeah. We got English.
Seth has his master's in divinity.
I do. We didn't learn about community, the word, but that may be how that works. I feel like it makes sense.
Take words and break it down. It's like when Stephen Furtick said, "It's not girl math, it's God math."
Okay. Oh boy. Let's not keep going on his quotes.
Yeah. So we have a lot of students who come through our doors, and a lot of them are already plugged into community. And sometimes that community starts in kids ministry, and they just bring it here with them. Some of them, it starts at 6th grade vacation Bible school.
On the baseball field.
On the baseball field. Sometimes it doesn't start till high school. But what do you guys, your role as associates, part of your job is helping our kids find community. Because I remember at Conclave, there was a whole message about the kid on the wall and doing ministry on the wall. So how do you guys approach the kid on the wall and getting them plugged into community? We'll start with you, Kevin.
Yeah, I would say one is when I first meet a student, I want to know, is this their first time at church, or have they been coming? And it is kind of funny. I've been here 9 months or whatever, but I will talk to somebody. I'm like, man, are you new here? And they're like, I've been here for 10 years, and they're 10 years old. I'm like, oh, but sometimes they haven't been. Yep. But I want to try and see what is their understanding of church, because I think what's so unique about church is it's going to happen every Sunday, right? And it's an opportunity every Sunday. I think it truly is the best day of the week, because we get to worship Christ, we get to study the Bible, we get to gather with God's people and focus on Jesus, right? And for the person it's their first time, or it's their 10th time or 100th time, we're still trying to get them to to call them to maturity in Christ, right? And the calling that we're all called to live like Jesus. And I think as I meet students, for the person who is newer, right? This is who you're talking about, right? I would say, like, man, have they been coming regularly, right? Because a kid might, could have been here for 10 years, but they come maybe once a year, right? And so, really, like, and then I'll try and ask, like, who do you know here? Who's your closest friend here? And so I'll kind of start there, because I believe that effective ministry is going to be first relational, right? Because we have to have relationships. Yep. If we don't have relationships, then this is kind of just like, I'm going to go do my Sunday thing, right? But where we see students thriving and growing in their faith is like they are eager to be here. I love students are like, man, I still remember last Sunday or Wednesday when Rylan told me that I have ADD and he told me that I need to, be not just to hear the word of the doer, but or be a doer of the word. But it's those moments where they were that person that started as the new kid, and then we've seen them like grow into maturity. But really just trying to start with one. I think I'll talk about this more in some of our other questions, but I just think I've seen the biggest difference is when there's a kid who has one friend, right? Yeah. Because if they can make that one friend, it changes how they view Sunday, how they view Wednesday, how they view a retreat. Because typically, right, I'm sure you hear this, like students will say, oh, my friend's not going, so therefore I'm not going to go, right? Yeah. But on the opposite side of that is they go, so-and-so is going, I'm there, right? Rylan's going to be there, I'm there, right? It's kind of that, but.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing for me is my goal is to get out of the way as soon as possible. Man, if you are new here, if this is your first time, I love you guys and I love meeting you. But my goal is not to just instantly you and me, the only people that you ever meet is me in the room. Right. That's the beauty of being in the cafe, being in this room in the early times is that I have a moment I'll usually ask what school you go to, ask what you like to do, just so I can learn a little bit about you. And then I've got specific students that like I'll meet someone up to. I'll be like, hey, go meet, if you're a senior, go meet this guy, go meet this girl, whoever. Just to start that one. Because I learned this really quick is like one of the first Sundays we were over here, we had a visitor and I was like, oh sweet. And I got to know him really well. And we talked about a lot of stuff, but then like they go to class and they start walking in, they're like, I don't know anybody in here. And I was like, oh man, I missed it. Like I missed the opportunity to introduce them in a nice, easy setting where it's like, hey, jump on the foosball table with somebody or jump on the Xbox with somebody. And so that's the key for me is, man, I want to get to know enough about you or a lot about you quickly. But the goal of that is, yes, so I can get to know you because I do care. Like we all do, right? We all care about students walking through the store, but I want to get you connected with a student, someone that you can start to form that community and start to form that life group with.
So I kind of going along the lines of what you're talking about, our goal, like our job is not to be a part of a student's community. Yeah. In some ways we help facilitate it, but in some ways we don't. But we really lean on the rest of our students to help start that community. So what kind of advice would you give to a student in our ministry on how they can help with that new kid, that kid on the wall? How can they approach them and help that kid enter into community, Seth?
Yeah, I'd say the biggest thing is be open. Yeah. And we've got our groups, and we all know this. Like, none of us are going to be in here like, oh, like my group's completely open. Like, I just want everybody in and out. And like, I don't think anybody has that mindset, but it is that mindset that every time we see a new face, like that's an opportunity for us to impact someone for the gospel. Whether it's their first time here, whether we used to see them at church and we haven't seen them in a while. But we have to be open to that. We have to be open to the opportunity of like, hey, there's a new kid. It's not me coming over to you and being like, hey, can you meet this guy? But you see a new guy at the welcome desk and you're like, hey, I'm going to go over and meet that guy. Yeah. I don't know if he's in my grade or not, but I just want him to know that like we're happy that they're here, because that's the heart of all of us. We better be happy that new kids are walking through the door. Like as students, we obviously are, but that should be our goal is, man, just be open when you see someone new, just to have that conversation. One of the most beautiful things from last year, it's kind of the end of last year, we had a new junior come on a Sunday, and we had bowling. Actually, it was over the summer. We had bowling that afternoon. Yeah. And So usually, you come, you check it out, and you're like, all right, I'm going to see. And then you wait a little bit. Like, you don't just hop in immediately. Well, this kid, man, he was here on that Sunday morning. We had bowling at like 4 o'clock that Sunday afternoon. And I walk in, and he's walking in at the same time. Like, he was there. He was super invested. And a lot of that was because of how the guys welcomed him in his life group.
And now he's just a part of that group.
Exactly.
Awesome.
He's in with he's in the group. Like, it's so cool how, shout out to you senior guys now, because you guys, that is what we need across the board, is just to continue to, show welcoming arms. My biggest pet peeve, and I'm sure, Kevin, you could probably speak to this some too, especially in middle school, is when you have closed off groups.
Yeah.
We talk about community, and it's so important to have those groups of people that you rely on. And I'm not saying that everybody in your life group, for instance, needs to hear your deepest, darkest secrets, but there's a difference between having a tight group of people that you trust and that you're going to, that hold you accountable, and being like a clique, like being closed off to everybody, and you're not coming and hanging out with us. And so there's a balance there that we have to figure out, that it's, yes, I can still trust these people and have these people close, but I still need to be open to the new people that walk in our doors.
100%.
Yeah. I would add on to that is to be Christ-like is to be loving, right? So if people are going to come into here and we're unloving and unwelcoming, that's already a bad first impression for the new kid.
Yeah, it's not great.
Right? And so for a person who's been a regular attender here and who says, hey, Radiate is my youth group. This is my place. These are my people. We're about Christ here. And so we want to be like Christ and to share Christ and all those things. And a great place to start is, how about being kind, right? And just on a practical level, I think what's awesome is, to what you're saying, Seth, is when a group is more open to invite somebody who's new. What I'm learning here in the South is college football is a big deal.
Come on.
Huge deal, actually.
Anchor down, baby. Go Norse. Go Norse.
Let's not talk about it this week. All right.
Anyways, we can talk about that for hours. But is what I'm learning here is, it could be as simple as, kids playing college football on the Xbox and someone saying, hey, who's your team? And then, it could be like kind of competitive or fun and be like, well, I bet I'll beat you, whatever. And then they start hanging out, and that's their first time hanging out.
Yeah.
And that for that new person to be like, I'm playing college football right now, like in a youth group, is awesome, right? Or it could be as simple on a Wednesday night. I've seen this many times. We have a new kid who loves basketball but doesn't feel like they can just join a game, and then people says, hey, we need one more, right? And then next thing you know, that game is what, here's a dad joke. It was a game changer for that kid, right? So I had to do it. But it was a game changer for that kid to say, man, I went to church, I heard a good message, right? Rylan made me play this weird game. But beyond that, man, I made friends playing basketball, and, win or lose, whatever, I'll be back next Wednesday. And that moment was, it changed everything.
And I think the key is that growing community starts with one conversation, one response, one question.
Right.
And so it's just being willing to step out and on either side. If you're new, man, sometimes it does take you guys step out of your comfort zone a little bit and be like, you know what, I am going to go talk to that person. But it all it takes is one. And then from there, you begin to build that community.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm really upset we are talking about college football.
Yeah.
It was a rough weekend.
It was. And your basketball coach is gone too.
Yeah, and our basketball coach is gone too. All my Auburn fans out there, it's a tough life for us right now, but God is good and we will prevail.
Amen.
I want to talk kind of now about some struggles of community because, there's good community and there's bad community.
Yep.
And so I think sometimes we see kids who are hungry for community, and so they might find that group that gives them a lot of attention, and in reality, it's probably not the best group of kids to be there.
Yeah.
Or maybe there's a group that kid's gotten plugged into, but he's not getting any. It's just, there's some fine lines we walk in finding community, and it can be really tough for a student. So for you guys, what are some struggles you've kind of seen with our students trying to find community?
Yeah, I think... I love what you said is, like we said earlier, everybody's looking for a community, and you're going to find one most of the time. Sometimes you begin to isolate yourself, but most of the time you find one, and it's usually whoever's giving you the most attention.
Yeah.
And ideally, all of our hearts is that, man, we are, as like you said, being kind, being loving, being open. But some of the struggles that come with that is, you find yourself in a community that, if you look from the outside in, you shouldn't be a part of. You know that they're not leading you. They're not pointing you towards Christ. They're not pushing you on that direction. They're not holding you accountable. But at the same time, I think another struggle that we see is kind of on that, when you're on that fringe, I think is sometimes the hardest time for a student in community, where you're like the guy that's in the big group chat, but you know that there's like 3 other group chats without you. And there's hurt that comes with that. And there's pain that comes with it. Honestly, I think that's probably the most conversations I've had about community. And so I think it's important to kind of just address that real quick, that if you are on the fringe, it's continuing to be intentional with your time. It's continuing to know that, hey, God is providing these people around me, and continuing to grow in those relationships as best you can. But if you find yourself that you're in a group and you've kind of pushed some people to the side, man, invite them back in. Invite them in, whether it's just as simple as coming over to watch college football, and just being open to those people, because sometimes that's the hardest time. Is not when you've never found a community in the first place, but it's when you are in a community and then you feel like you've kind of been pushed to the side. Yeah. And so, man, I think it's so important for the group to, again, be welcoming, but also for that person to continue to be intentional about finding that community, and also, man, just continuing to grow in biblical community in that as well.
Yeah, I think what comes to mind, Proverbs talks a lot about friendships, and Proverbs 27:17 says, as iron sharpens iron, so a person sharpens another. And I think as you look about the people that you hang out with, this isn't just middle school, high school. I think this is adults. I think this is kids.
Everyone.
Right. I'm seeing this with my 3-year-old. I'm like, where did you learn that? She goes, my friend. Right. I'm like, you're 3. Right?
Amy, who are you hanging out with?
I know. But really, like, who you hang out with, it's going to influence who you're going to be, how you talk, what decisions you make. We are a byproduct of the people that we hang out with. Yeah. And so if we're going to hang out with people who get in trouble, like stealing, what did you say? You stole some soap dispensers?
No, he said he didn't.
I'm sorry.
Not
Never
in my life.
Yeah. Just watched other people.
Yeah, I just watched other people.
That is not recommended.
Yeah,
don't
do that.
Yes, but
don't do that.
who we hang out with, we're gonna make decisions. I used to have a friend. He said, if you hang out at a barber shop, you're gonna get a haircut. I kind of get what he's saying, but what he's saying eventually is you're gonna get a way to think about that.
Sports clips. You can just sit there and watch TV.
Yes,
but
yes.
But good though. Yeah.
Yeah, but the point is, you're gonna really become like the people that you hang out with. I think Corinthians says, bad company corrupts good character, right? And if we're going to hang out with people who are, just getting in trouble all the time, chances are we are. I know that was me. I tell this story during silent reading in first grade. I used to make my
where all the trouble happens.
Yes, I used to make this face. I don't know. The camera can catch.
I don't know if we.
You've seen this face.
Yeah.
Are we gonna get canceled?
No.
Yes.
So, it was him.
Yeah. For whatever reason, I made that face.
He's allowed to do it.
Yeah, sure. But for whatever reason, I made that face to make people laugh, whatever, in first grade. And that became a staple during silent reading in first grade. And I had no idea that was the impact it would make in my first grade class. And
that's what he's known by.
Right, yeah. I know.
Everybody thinks back. Remember that guy, Kevin from first grade?
Weird face guy who kind of made us feel weird, but it was so funny. Yeah.
But friendships are powerful is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
The people we hang out with, who we spend the most time with, they're going to make an impact in our lives, and also we are going to make an impact in other people's 100%. Lives. So to the person who is struggling with that, I would say be picky, not in a mean or like a perfection way, but like look for a person who's fun to hang out with.
Yep.
Right? I think fun is a factor in friendship. Wow, that alliterates, right? But if you don't have...
That's a sermon point right there.
If you're not having fun with the people that you hang out with, guess what? You don't have to hang out with them, right?
100%. Yeah.
Go hang out with somebody else, right? Who laughs at your jokes, who likes the same cookout items as you, whatever, right? Who likes the same football team, whatever. But let those things, be a reason why you pick somebody. But then, practical things. Are they honest? Are they trustworthy? Are they loyal? Right?
Yeah.
When they say, hey, I'll be there, they're going to be there, right?
Yeah.
They don't leave you on red, right? They're going to reply. They're going to be there when you need a friend. And so these are some practical things. I can go on and on about that, but
it's like the idea, I don't know if this is going to land, but it's like if you absolutely hate mushrooms, Like you can't stand them. You can put as much seasoning and stuff on them as possible, but at the end of the day, you're still gonna hate them. So
Still a
why?
mushroom.
Yeah. So why are you choosing to
Still a
eat it? You know.
That was a good round.
No, yeah. My mom, kind of what you were saying. My mom used to, really my sister too. They always knew who I was hanging out with that day at school. They knew who I was talking to, just in the way I talked, just in the way I acted. And so, man, it's pretty quick, the change that you can have, whether it's just like a weekend that you spend with people that you shouldn't. Your attitudes change, your patience level changes, how you talk to people, how you show love. And so it's a quick change. So I love that. Be picky. Be picky.
Well, and it's like the quickest way to live a double-sided life as a Christian is to have two sets of community. Because I remember I would have my church friends, and in front of them, and when we're in church, I'm look at how great I am and what a good person I am. And then I go out on the ball field with my teammates, and it was like the most insane curse words and all these things possible. And it's just like, I remember I went on a mission trip, and a kid looked at me, he was like, "Why are you going on a mission trip, bro?" And I was like, "Oh, that's bad. I should probably change how I'm living." And so I kind of to what Kevin's talking about, you know, the people who you surround yourself is how you're going to act.
Yeah.
And so if you surround yourself all the time by godly people, or as honestly as much as you can, it's going to end up better for your actions and your words. And if you choose to pick and choose what group you're with and how you're going to act with them, your life doesn't really have direction. You know, and kind of to what you're talking about, Seth, that resonates with me a lot, but not as the kid who felt left out. But I always struggled as I always felt like I was the kid leaving other people out, because we had our close group of 4, and we had like the girls who would hang out with us, and we had our group chat, and we had all these other kids, and they would say stuff to us. Yeah. Like, "Why don't you guys hang out with us?" And we'd be like, "Well, we see you on a Sunday." Yeah. And we see you on Wednesdays, but I remember looking back and always just kind of feeling bad, like, are these people being left out, or do I just not want to hang out with them?
Yeah, you know? And it's hard because, like, what we're not saying is that every time you have something, right, every time you have like a hangout at your house, you have to invite absolutely everybody. But it's important to understand that, like, A, you're not doing it on purpose, right? You're not like intentionally leaving someone out. But also that even in those moments, like, that's a great opportunity to kind of just be able to show the love of Christ, but also still have your tight group of community. And so there is a complicated balance there that, I mean, that's why we have to talk about things like this, that's why community is hard, is because there's no like set, this works for everybody, and this works for every group. But it takes work, and it takes effort from all sides, truly looking to Christ as the center of it, seeing how can I go through this biblically.
Yeah, I mean, we're kind of seeing that, like, that weird matrix of how it works right now with our seniors right now, because, you know, they're trying to decide what their tight-knit, sorry, that was a big story, their tight-knit community was, and it led to separation. But I know for a fact, all, like, the whole group, they're always going to still be at my house watching UFC.
Well, it's I think senior year, and I would say 8th grade year probably too, is kind of a year where a lot of that happens. Because there's a lot of, like, you see the change coming. And just a challenge for our seniors right now, when you get to the end of senior year, understand that this is not the time to just burn all the bridges you built. Because we see that a lot. It happened my senior year, where it was like, "Oh, I've only got a month left with this person. I'm going to do whatever I want and say whatever I want," that I may have been like silently thinking about for the last 4 years, but I just knew biblically I should not bring that up or should not say that. It's important to still have that community, because when you go off to college, the community that you've built now is honestly even more important, because it's helped you through all this freedom now. But man, when you hit a college campus and you don't have anybody to lean on, you're going to find the closest group. And so it's important to start building that now, whether you're in middle school, whether you're in high school, whether you're a parent who, man, you are trying to see how you can help your student navigate that. It's important to dive into that community and find a good biblical community where you're at right now.
Yeah, I can add on to that too, is, you know, this is a great opportunity to learn that, right? Because college is around the corner. Even if you're a 6th grader, you're like, that's far.
Goes by quicker than you think.
It is around the corner, right? And I mean, the fact that students are going to be driving in high school, that kind of, as scary as that is, right?
Yeah, every time a new student's like, "Hey, I got my license," I'm like, "I'm not driving anymore." Got it. Okay. I'm going to fly everywhere.
Where do you live so I can avoid?
Or it's funny when you're like at Publix and you're like, "Oh, wow. Like, you know, I remember that person at youth group, and now they're bagging my groceries," you know? But this is an opportunity to learn how to find those friendships, develop those friendships now, because as college comes and adulthood comes, and who knows? I mean, I'm thinking about like Braden Harder, who's serving in the
The
military.
military,
right now.
yeah.
I mean, you don't know where the Lord is going to take you,
Mm-mm.
and the church again is going to be there every Sunday.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so,
And what's so cool about that story specifically is that he sent letter. Like, I mean, obviously you join the military, you have basic and all this, and you don't really have much communication. But I heard so many stories from other seniors last year that were like, yeah, he sent me a letter. He sent me
I got
this.
a letter.
That's cool.
And so that community, yeah, I got one too. Like that community is.
Braden and I didn't get a letter.
It's okay. He's a middle school guy. That community is so important because no matter where you're going, the church is there for you. We're always going to be there for you, no matter how old you are. But that community that you build is so important.
Yeah. So 2 more questions and we'll land this plane so Kevin can get off to Lake Point. But
Laser tag.
But our students work hard to get to their community.
Yeah.
Eventually
we
they're
know
going to
that.
find it, hopefully the good community. Once they find that good, biblical, solid community, what are some things they can do to protect that community and stay within those safe walls, you know?
I think we talk about, this is not contradicting what I was saying earlier,
Uh-oh.
but it goes right along with it. When you have a new person join the community, be intentional about it, but at the same time, be careful. What I've seen a lot personally and with other people is that there's a new person that joins a community and they do not have good intentions. And so that's when it comes back to Scripture. It comes back to looking at Scripture and how we can navigate that. But I think when you have that community, it's important. It's important to have it, and it's important to keep it. And so sometimes it's not shutting off your community to everybody. But what it is it's being careful about how you navigate that, how you invite people in, because the last thing you want to do is hurt somebody in that community. And we talk about it here when we have there's like little communities inside of Radiate. There's little communities inside the grades, but overall there is a community of Radiate. Like every student in here is a part of the Radiate community.
Yeah.
And if there's someone in here that is disrupting that is purposefully, not accidentally, because we see like we know sin is an issue. We know sin, but when someone is purposefully disrupting community is what I'm talking about. We have to step in at that point.
Yeah.
And protect the flock that we do have.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing with a group of community. You have to protect it when someone is intentionally doing something. If it's an accident, if they just, maybe people are new to community, because that happens. Man, it's a conversation. We see biblically how to deal with conflict. It's going to them personally, going to them with a group, and that's how we do it. We don't blast it in front of everybody. We don't go, hey, this dude in the group chat, just like everybody knows. And so it's figuring out those ways to deal with things biblically. It all goes back to the Bible. Shocker, I know. Right?
Yeah. That's
Mind-blowing,
very true.
actually.
I love a good quote. Charles Spurgeon.
Ooh.
He famously said, "A true friend is rare, and when you have found one, keep him."
Yep.
Right. And so, when you have a friendship that you care about, you're going to protect it. You're not going to take that for granted. You're going to say thank you. You're going to be loyal, right? And I think an awesome thing in our youth group is when we see that, right? It's those boys and girls, right? I'm with the boys mostly, right? And so when I see the guys who are just like, oh yeah, you have a game, I'm gonna be there, or man, you're this is kind of a joke, but this is real. But man, your 7th grade girlfriend broke up with you. Oh, that's painful.
No.
It's
For the
painful.
4th
I get it.
time.
For the
fifth
4th time, right?
Yeah.
Because it was the one, man.
It was the
It
one.
was the one,
yeah.
the one that got
they
away.
were in,
Actually,
they were in
yeah.
love, man. But the fact that they're by their side in the good,
Huge.
in the bad, and that if you have those friends, why would you ever take that for granted, right? And so that's what I would say. I mean,
So good.
just cherish it, enjoy it. I really think friendship is a gift from God, and that's something that we should enjoy. And those are the memories. Now I'm in my 30s, right? But now that I'm in my 30s, like I
Didn't know what was going on there for a
yeah,
second.
I
You're
know.
so old.
That was my back hurting me. But I'm so thankful. When I was an intern, I've shared this with you, Rylan, but I still remember. They're still my best friends to this day. But my first job as an intern was cleaning closets, like an intern
yeah.
I
does.
probably need to clean our closet.
And,
Yeah,
now,
that's
actually,
a
now
good
we're
one.
talking about it.
Through cleaning that closet, we're talking about life. We're organizing shelves. We're finding old food from camps. We've never done that, Seth, right?
Oh gosh.
But
The flies.
Oh,
but
that's a
it's
story for
those
another
are
day.
the memories. As I get older, I go, man, those were good times, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those were guys that I can run with and follow Christ, and that's the hope that I have for not just middle school students. I'd say all of our students. I'd say at the church, right?
Yeah.
Is the big picture of lifelong friendship.
Yep, and it's not taking it for granted too. Especially, I think what can happen when you have a kid or have a friend from a young age is at some point in high school, it seems like you start to take things for granted.
Yep.
And what happens
Actually,
there is
never in
yeah,
my
right.
life have I ever
What
taken
happens there
anything
is
for
like some of the closest friends that you've made and the best friends that you have, like the people who are there for you all the time, you kind of start to take advantage of them.
Yeah.
And it's terrible. Like looking at it from the outside, and honestly, when you get to the other side of that, you're like, why would I ever do that?
Mm-hmm.
But it starts with being intentional. It starts with knowing that, man, this is a blessing from the Lord that He's given me, and it's just having that opportunity to be with that friend who's there for you, and not taking advantage of that, not being like, I know he's going to be there for me, so I'm going to go hang out with these people because I know he's always going to be there.
Yep.
But no, it's continuing to pour into that relationship, so that way when you have, the big picture, like when you're 40 and you've got families, right? You one of you has a boat, the other like it's like you continue on those. Like one of the most beautiful things that we talk about in our friend group still is like, dude, I can't wait for all of us and to kind of see all of us. Luckily, I'm fortunate enough to be on the front side of it, so it's so cool for me to kind of sit back and see like my friends be dating and getting engaged and getting married and starting families of their own.
You're just an overachiever, so.
Shut up. But it's like, that's what we talked about in high school, was like, we're going to grow up and all of our friends are going to grow up together. Like, those are the things. Don't take advantage of those. Continue to lean in to that community.
Yeah.
I got one more thing, because
Okay.
this is a topic I'm really passionate about. But I would say, just on another practical level too, in order to have good friends, you need to be a good friend yourself.
yeah.
Amen.
Right? I've never met anybody that's so terrible of a person and so selfish of a person and a liar and a deceiver. And then someone says, that's my best friend.
Yeah.
That liar over there.
Yeah.
No, it's a person who is the opposite of those.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah.
It's a person who embodies Christ and truly cares for people. Those are the friends you want in your life, because that's what friendship is,
Yep.
right? It's relational, and it's not about getting stuff from people, right? It's just simply the enjoyment of fellowship, right? I remember a pastor always say, "What's fellowship? It's two fellows on a ship," right? And it's a
Community.
person-
It's the same idea.
Yeah.
All right,
It's people who are together, living life.
go canoeing.
And so, but that's the picture. Right?
That's I love word images like that,
Yeah.
because it allows my head to like understand. Like that's how
Yeah.
my brain works.
Yeah.
And so that's a great.
I think in pictures, so that's
Yeah.
kind of good. But my intern wisdom on this subject
Get it.
is
You're
You
fresh
wanna-
out of high school,
yeah,
kinda.
you want to. This is coming from mistakes I made in high school. But if you want to protect community, you have to learn how to forgive people,
Ooh.
but also learn that your community is full of imperfect people.
Yep.
Right, because
Yeah.
my community in high school, our friend group was kind of built around this relationship that I had with a girl. Like, we started this relationship, and so all of our friends hung out together. And then when that relationship ended, it all went downhill really
Yeah.
quickly.
Yeah.
I've never heard that before.
Oh, that's a
Yeah.
that's a brand new story.
I
The
know.
first person to ever exist
I
like
know,
that in
right?
the world.
And
But
it
no,
was,
it's a good point though.
it was a bad situation of saying bad things about other people,
Yeah.
Yep.
gossiping about other people, and if I didn't have friends who were willing to forgive me.
Mhm.
And willing to realize I was in a bad spot and I'm an imperfect person, and then me being able to forgive them
Yeah.
and accept that forgiveness, that community would have died. But
But
praise God.
I
we
think
still
that's the
have it.
story of a lot of people. This word that goes around, church hurt, right?
Yeah.
That's what happens. But we have to understand, and maybe somehow you found this podcast, and man, that's you, man. Understand that the church is full of imperfect
Perfect
people
people.
serving a perfect God.
Yeah.
Just because the church or people in the church did not love you, did not welcome you as they should have, does not mean that God does not feel the same way about you. God loves you, and so it's that challenge for all of us in this room to continue to grow and be more like Christ, so we can be a better example to our community and to people that are looking for a community.
That's good.
And there's going to be a kid who their community is not in Radiate.
Yeah.
Right.
And there's a family whose their community is not in Burnt Hickory. And our goal isn't like, well, no, keep coming and then eventually you'll find it. It's
Right.
like, if you found it somewhere else, praise God.
Yeah.
go have it.
Biblical
Go-
community, yes.
Yeah, biblical community. Now, yes, biblical community. But if you find it, go.
Yeah.
Stay there. We don't
Lock in somewhere.
lock in 100%. Buy in somewhere. But what were you gonna say, Kev?
I'll just say, if Taco Bell messed up your order one time, would you never go to Taco Bell again?
I would still go to Taco
I go to
Bell.
Taco Bell about twice a week.
That's what I'm
so,
saying.
Yeah, I'm gonna if they mess it up, I'm gonna forgive them.
Oh my gosh. Taco Bell?
Yeah.
No.
Or actually, I'm not gonna lie. I'll probably pick a different location next time.
Right,
so I don't know how
right.
that's gonna tie into your
Oh,
message.
that's not
but
the answer I was looking for.
Yeah, I would just get encouraged.
I would still go to Taco Bell.
Yeah.
I
Kevin.
would still go to Taco
Yeah,
Bell.
I would just encourage somebody, if they had a bad experience that first time, hey, we apologize that's happened, but man, let us find you a good friend.
Yeah.
here.
Yeah.
So in other words, if you need help out there, person listening, right? If this is you struggling to find community, ask one of us, ask one of our leaders, ask one of our team, right? Because that's why we're here. We all of us here, we're byproducts of youth group. It was people making an impact in our lives, and we want to make that same impact
We
for
want to
others.
overflow into them.
And overflow, baby.
Yeah,
that's right.
So kind of what you're talking about, Kevin. In the last question, we're gonna land this plane.
That's his phrase. He likes to say that.
Yeah.
Land this plane.
Land
Well,
that
Chip
plane.
will,
Land
Chip
the
will
plane.
make fun of me for saying
Aye,
make
aye,
some
Captain.
noise.
So land
I
the
just,
plane is
you
your
know,
new one?
I just got to find a new catchphrase, I guess. But community is a beautiful thing. But
True. And we're done. No.
no,
Amen.
sorry, that was funny. There's a kid out there who is struggling.
Yeah.
There's a kid in Radiate right now who's struggling. There's a kid listening to this who is struggling to find community. What is one thing you would say, and you're about to say to that kid to find that loving, caring, and welcoming community?
Yeah, I would just say be patient, right? Because good things take time,
Yeah.
right? It just does. It's probably not what you want to hear, but it takes time, right? I don't think if I didn't spend the time with the guys that I clean closets with as an intern, but it was the time after,
Yeah.
right? And I was like, wow, we don't really have a lot in common, but man, we do know that we need Christ, and that was enough, right? It wasn't, do we wear the same, brands of clothes or whatever, or do we like the same music? It was much deeper and stronger than that, and that's our faith, right? And that's what makes community strong, is having that same mission and mindset. But just be patient. It takes time, and be consistent, because if you're not going to show up here, I think a pet peeve of mine is when I will have a student will say, I can't make any friends. I'm like, yeah, well, I kind of saw you in the corner and your arms were folded, and we had some students barking at each other. That was weird at VBS.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
Right, but I'm like, I
Not the
don't
speed
know.
for that one, I think.
Man, those sixth graders are fun.
Yeah, I don't know a friendship that would develop from
Like you
your
barking
body
at
language and your vocals being, sounding
So
like
negative.
a dog.
Oh, man. I like the way you bark. Let's be friends.
Right.
You know?
But be patient, be kind, and then just be consistent.
Be willing
Love
to
that.
try.
Yeah, be
Yeah,
willing.
that,
There you
that's. I mean, you kind of stole my. I was gonna say be open.
yeah,
I was
I'm
just
so
gonna go
sorry.
along with the bees. Be patient, be consistent, but be open. Because, like you said, if you're the one sitting in the corner, like, man, we can only do so much.
Yeah.
We will do as much as possible. We will do everything that we can to help you find a
100%.
community.
Yep.
But man, we can match you up with, on paper, the perfect person that, and you have all the same interests. You are walking through the same stage of life. But if you're not open to the community, you're never going to find it.
Yeah.
Yep.
And so be open. My community, and I think we can probably all speak to this, my community is not who on paper you wouldn't put all of us together and be like, those are going to be best friends.
I know,
It doesn't
right?
make any sense. Our community makes no sense. Our group of guys, we love different things. We enjoy different things. None of us enjoy the same sports team other than a couple Georgia fans who we all bully anyways.
Gross.
Not actually. But like on paper, it doesn't make any sense.
Braden behind the
And so
camera.
And so if we had never been open to that, if we would have been like, no, this isn't the friend I had in mind for myself,
Yeah.
then we would have missed out on the joys that the Lord has put together. So be open to the plan that God has, because it's far greater than what you have. And if you're sitting there and you're struggling, because we know, I mean, that's the reason that we're hitting this topic. It's the reason we're going to hit every topic we talk about, is because we know none of us are perfect at it.
Yep.
And so if you're sitting there, you're struggling with community, whether you're a part of a community and you're struggling with people on the outside, whether you're on the outside of a community, kind of just on the fringe, or whether you don't feel like you've ever really been a part of a community, or you just aren't right now, and be open to what the Lord has. Be patient, be consistent, be all of these things, and just, man, lean on the Lord.
Yeah. And I have a great example of that. Real quick story is fall retreat. How many students that didn't want to go to fall retreat because they didn't have a friend, and then they signed up anyway because mom forced them to come.
Praise
and
God.
Guess what? They made a best friend that
Yeah.
weekend, right? At the wave pool, Rylan, about the rafting,
Oh, gosh.
but those memories were just because they were, even if they were forced by mom and dad, but they had a conversation. They played a card game, right? And whatever, but that sparked it. And so just being open.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
At least be open, because it's the idea. It's like, you can pray as much as you want for a good grade on your test, which I do frequently, but then I'm like, man, I haven't studied at all for this psych
You're
test.
just sitting down the first time. God, can you just magically
And
change
I'm
all
like-
these answers
I'm
on the
like,
Scantron
God, why
for
haven't
me?
you delivered me an A in psychology yet? And he's like, well, because you haven't studied.
Yeah.
And it's the same way. Like, you can pray for God to bring you
And you should be.
a friend, and you should be.
Yeah.
But if you get into these moments of community and you're just kind of on the wall,
Yep. And we know it's hard.
We do.
We none of us are sitting here going, hey, it's easy
It's
just to
so
go out and meet
easy.
a new
Yeah,
person.
yeah.
We know it's hard.
Right.
And a lot of things in life are. But it's being intentional, it's being consistent, it's being open with those things.
heck yeah, community. It's beautiful. Thank you guys so much for being
Community.
here. Community. Fellowship.
Come on.
Two fellows on a
Two
ship.
fellows on a
There we
ship.
Heck
go.
yeah. Thank you guys for being here. Well,
Overflow.
while we're on the subject of community, if you guys are out there and you are not plugged into a church community, we would love to invite you to Radiate, who we host this podcast. We also have our midweeks on Wednesday nights, middle school 6:15, high school at 7:15. Sunday mornings we meet for life groups at 9:30 and 11. If you want to follow us on Instagram at BHRadiate just to stay up to date with what's happening. We're off this week with fall break, but we're back next week. And then follow this podcast at the Overflow_RS. And heck yeah, we'll see you next week. Me and Seth are talking about temptation.
Ooh.
We out.
That's going to be a good one. You have to hold it down.